Hi guys, let's jump straight into this from season 3 episode 4 recap. There is a lot to discuss. The episode starts off with Tabitha. The ambulance she was riding in has come to a stop because there's a tree in the middle of the road. I honestly didn't want to believe she was back in from, especially since she barely got any concrete answers from the outside. But once I saw the crows, it pretty much solidified she's back. The phone rings and this time Ethan picks it up. Evil Thomas lets him know Tabitha is back on her way to town in an ambulance and he has to save her, so he can't be afraid. This lets us know that the town somehow knows when and who is coming into the town. But he gets interrupted by Jim and Evil Thomas is like,
"You leave my children alone."
But they're not your children anymore.
What does that even mean?
Ethan, I need you to talk to me. What did he say?
Damn, Jim. All I know is the town seems to want to get its hands on Ethan. In season 1, the voices told Sarah to kill Ethan, and now he's being told to go save Tabitha himself. That is no coincidence to me. Back at Colony House, they're dealing with the aftermath of Tilly's tarot card reading.
But do you think it's really smart to do tarot readings in a place like this?
Mariel gives Fatima a checkup and offers her a glass of water, which she's hesitant to drink and takes a fake sip. Gosh, she can't take water too? Like, do you need something from a septic tank or what? Moving on, Victor tells us how him and his sister used to play in the houses during the day, but hide at night.
You came here with your sister?
My mother too, but they died. Just like Nathan. Except I didn't murder them.
Victor is actually hilarious. I like him. He confirms that both his mom and sister are dead, but we only saw his mom's dead body, not his sister's. So in my book, she's still alive. No body, no case. And also for another reason I will reveal later in the video. I told you in my previous video, Victor is the key, guys, and this show is finally showing just how important he is. Meanwhile, Boyd is on the bus with Randall. Boyd is trying to observe the monsters to see what they get up to at night.
If you're gonna do something that has even the slightest chance of getting us the hell out of here, no matter how stupid or ill-advised that thing might be, I want to help.
Oh, so now all of a sudden you're a team player.
Boyd, chill. At this point, you need all the help you can get. Then Randall admitted,
If you've seen the things I've seen, what do you think I'm talking about, Boyd? With me, Julie, Marielle, wherever we were.
and Boyd doesn't even probe him further. This could have been the perfect opportunity for us to learn further what happened to the Haunted Tree. What kind of sheriff doesn't know how to ask follow-up questions? Come on, Boyd. You dropped the ball there. By the way, one thing that's annoying me is, why are Randall and Julie the only people in the trio that seem to be affected by whatever happened to them? I don't know if it's poor writing, but this whole season, Mariel just seems chill. The only thing that's worrying her is Christy being in the forest. Speaking of Christy in the forest, that night she can't fall asleep because her ankle is throbbing. She wakes up and finds Kenny writing a letter to his mom.
I meant what I said earlier.
Things are different now, that's all. Everything that I thought I was fighting for is gone. And the two people that I would talk to about that are you and Mom.
You can still talk to me.
Christy, you have a girlfriend. Leave Kenny alone. They end up waking Jade with all their jibber-jabber.
You guys want to hear something crazy?
But the scene gets cut there. Perfect. Cut back to Victor and Sarah. The fort is ready and he starts to tell us his story of the morning after the massacre. That morning, he found a bunch of people had been butchered, too many for him to bury. He also met the boy in white that day for the first time.
So the boy in white told me to gather things that were precious.
It's these very mementos that he's going to be using to try and remember what he forgot. And when Sarah asks him why he chose her to embark on this journey with, he says,
Because I don't want to do this alone.
That's sad.
You're the scariest person here, so it won't scare you.
Victor's killing me with all this shade. Boyd and Randall are still waiting for the monsters to show up, and Randall's like, something ain't right. He knows the monsters and their specific routines each night.
But the point is, they got patterns, routines, all of which should be happening right now.
Boyd, this is your perfect partner. Screw useless Ellis and preoccupied Kenny. Randall is the guy you need. At the same time, Tabitha is trying to convince the ambulance driver to stop in the town, and they're just like, shut the
Baby, I'm not going to tell you again, okay?
They even zoom past Boyd and Randall.
Shit.
What's wrong?
Got a body in the road.
which we obviously know is a monster, and it's basically game over for those two paramedics. Acosta immediately starts firing. This alerts Boyd and the rest. Once she realizes her bullets don't work against the monsters, she makes a run for it, abandoning a handcuffed Tabitha and Victor's dad in the back of the ambulance. Jim finds Tabitha.
Oh my god, Jim! Jim!
This is not the time, Jim, please. With no keys to the cuffs, Randall decides to get a toolbox from the bus. The cop manages to make it to Colony House, where she's still shooting and a stray bullet hits Nikki. They eventually let the cop in, and what I find ironic is they didn't even tie up the cop despite her being scared, confused, and actively shooting just minutes before. But in season 1, they tied up Tabitha and Julie when they weren't even armed. So Randall manages to get the toolbox back to the ambulance, but just then he gets attacked by cicadas. Boyd's looking for the keys so they can get away.
Take them. We get to keep Randall, though.
He chooses the keys. This pissed me off. Like, he didn't even try to save Randall. Bruh, you have the whole ambulance. You could have at least tried to run over a monster or two. And just as the monsters surround him, the cicadas go away, and I wonder if the monsters have control over the cicadas. Back at Colony House, Marielle is trying her best to save Nikki, and Fatima asks her,
Hey, are you sure you got this? Yeah.
like, do you want to do it, Fatima? Honestly, one of the things that's been pissing me off is how they treat Marielle as though she's incompetent. Granted, she did have her drug problem in the beginning, but she's more qualified than any of you other people. Also, in season 1 or 2, Christy mentioned that she was a third-year medical student when she got stuck in the town. So I don't know how y'all have so much confidence in her. And the last point I'll make on this mini rant is that I know that they have scarce resources in the town, but taking that bullet out was the wrong move. Anyway, they make it back to Colony House. Everyone's shocked to see Tabitha. Boyd goes off on the cop, who I think deserves some grace because it's her first time in a town full of monsters. She just saw two people get killed right in front of her, and bullets don't work on these very monsters. Amidst all the chaos, Elgin and Tilly are having a cup of tea, and Elgin sees the dead water lady, who says, prior to this, Tilly told Elgin she's worried about Fatima. For sure, the dead crow was a bad omen, but at this point, I'm looking at Tilly sideways. Every time Fatima has a scene to do with the baby, or Elgin sees the lady, she's always there. There's definitely a weird connection between Elgin, Fatima, and Tilly, and I've got my eyes on you, Tilly. After this, people start confessing things. Julie opens up to Ethan about what she saw when she was in that weird coma, but she says she can't remember what she saw. She just remembers being scared. So did they all forget, or was it just her? In the woods, Jade confesses to seeing the guy with no eye drinking blood from a skull, which I think could be foreshadowing something that happens with Fatima. If you know, you know. At that very moment, they hear something outside the cabin, but we still don't get to see what it is exactly. Victor goes through the mementos in the suitcase and begins to remember the different people that died that night. Everyone but Christopher had a memento in the suitcase, which makes me wonder if Christopher could still be alive. And also, he doesn't necessarily have a memento for his sister Eloise, so that's why I wonder if she's alive as well. Anyway, it turns out the creepy doll that we've been seeing earlier this season is called Jasper, and he belonged to Christopher. Jasper was something Christopher used to bring joy and laughter to the people, but once he started seeing the symbols, he lost it. And Victor even walked in on him talking to Jasper, who can also talk, and not to mention screeches like the monsters. So it seems the next pit stop for Victor is going to be the monster caves to look for that creepy doll, where we last saw it. I don't know if Victor needs to see the doll in order to remember what happened, or if he meant that Jasper will literally talk to him and tell him what happened. Going back to Colony House, Boyd's updating Donna on the events that took place earlier on that night.
Oh my god, Boyd.
This is the one time I support Donna judging you, by the way. Nikki dies, not much of a surprise there. So Boyd decides to take out his anger on the cop. And to be honest, that was an a-hole move, Boyd. But I guess shooting up the town is a trigger for him.
You come with me right fucking now!
Did this woman really call Boyd upstairs to start crying? I would have preferred the lecture, but oh well. This next scene with Fatima was so disgusting. I'm not even exaggerating, but I knew as soon as I saw her creeping by that door what she came to do. Okay, now I thought maybe she needed something to eat, but I guess she was more on the thirsty side. Yeah. We finally get to see what Boyd and Donna were looking out at in the trailer. Randall is alive. Yes. Thankfully, he doesn't seem to be seriously injured. I hope he whoops your ass, Boyd, for leaving him out there. Overall, I think it was a much better episode than last week. Less filler, more action and development. Props to the cast for communicating this episode, except for Jim. Shame on you, Jim, for not telling anyone about the phone calls. I really hope next week's episode will be just as good or even better. At least we know next week Victor is going to be looking for Jasper. The latest promo shows that there will be discussions on finding the faraway tree and going home, but there are still so many questions. What's making those noises at night outside those cabins? Will they be able to save Randall, or is it just another setup by the monsters? How is Elgin supposed to save this random lady that we know nothing about? Could she be a dead future Fatima and he needs to save Fatima? Is Fatima going to die? Is the voice on the phone good or bad? Does the town want Ethan? Yeah, so in typical From fashion, there are so many questions and barely any answers. So for this episode, my MVP was Victor. I found him to be the comedic relief of the episode, and he's just my favorite character in this show. The biggest disappointment for me this episode was Boyd. It was the lack of effort to save Randall for me. Comment below your theories and thoughts of this episode, who you thought was the biggest disappointment or MVP of this episode. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe for future videos. Bye, and thank you for watching.